Hi, Sean here, one half of Sean and Kiara. We are the co-creators of Lucy in the Sky, a graphic novel for middle grade readers published by First Second. Our second graphic novel, Rhiannon, will be out in October of 2025. If you like the things we do, please consider supporting us by becoming a paying member of our Patreon site for $4 a month. And if you enjoy videos like this, hit the like and subscribe buttons, as it'll help us build this channel. Thank you, and enjoy the video. Welcome back to penciling page 7 of the Yellow Man. And we're finishing up the page in this video. So, at the end of this page, Lorelei and Sofi, here we see them, are interrupted. We hear a voice come from the side, scolding Sofi, and it happens to be Sofi's boss, who is the owner, or maybe just the manager of this of the store, the gutter that she works in. And he yells at her and tells her, "How many times do I have to tell you not to be working on your own stuff while you're on the clock?" So I remember when I first wrote this scene, and I kind of had a slightly different vision for the story and a different setting. He was a little bit more of a this guy was a little bit more of a hipster, sort of more contemporary to the time that I was writing it. And then when I was reworking the story, and I decided to set it in this indeterminate time period, but which suggested kind of I wanted to have a late Cold War era feel to it, and then somehow it ended up sort of settling into a late 1970s so far as the style of the automobiles and technology and so forth, and so I decided to redesign this character and make him, rather than a 90s hipster, sort of a 1970s kind of dude. Maybe somebody that I would imagine would be working in a store like this. And so I gave him a look that would be suitable for that kind of character. I always have fun trying to figure out what logos or slogans or whatever to put on characters' t-shirts, and I thought I'll give him a Bad Company t-shirt. It kind of would go with his hairdo, his sort of post-hippie hair, late 70s, and mustache. So we'll see him in a moment. I hope you're enjoying the background ambience of my laundry machine and dryer. I've got a very low-tech setup. I mean, my setup is usually pretty low-tech anyway, but today more so than usual. So I've been playing around a lot recently with how I plan out the word balloons and the dialogue in the panels, and oftentimes, as you'll see here, I just write out the dialogue that's intended for the panel in my sketch, so I can get an idea of how much room I'm going to need for word balloons, and then I'll use that before I frame it on the Bristol board. And that's kind of how I've been doing it. I haven't worried too much, in recent times about ruling out lines, because I've been doing the lettering on the computer using a font that was designed based on my own hand lettering by First Second provided it for me when I was working on Rhiannon, and and I used that as the computer font for that book. When I did Lucy, it was all hand lettered, and I kind of have mixed feelings. It speeds up the process, but there's really nothing like hand lettering, and you can do a lot with hand lettering that you can't do. Or it's hard to do with a computer font. You can get really creative with the hand lettering, and you're really kind of locked into just doing a straight lettering job when you use the computer font. But anyway, so I've been using that. So I haven't been ruling out the lines. Recently, though, I've gotten back into, at least on some panels, using an Ames lettering guide to rule out the lines, so I can get a more accurate idea of how much room I'm going to need in the panel. So here we have Zach, who's our comic book shop proprietor, with his Bad Company t-shirt on. I had to look up the logo online to get it right. I don't know why Bad Company is just sort of sticks in my mind as the thing to put on his shirt. I think maybe the movie Almost Famous kind of sticks in my head. So he looks like somebody who would be in that band in that movie. And also, it just occurred to me that putting in a band name of an actual band from our world into this story is, I have questions about doing that, because there are, everything else in this comic is any sort of name of product, or it's a story about comics. So all the comics are sort of analogs for titles that exist or existed in our world. But I don't use any of them. There's no Batman or Superman or Marvel or DC. It's all sort of these alternate universe analogs. But here I've taken something from our world, a real band name, and stuck it on the t-shirt. And I think it's because, well, I guess if I made up a band name, the significance of what, the added meaning that a band like Bad Company on a t-shirt gives to the character would be lost. So I guess that's why. I guess I answered my own question. I have I had some fun drawing this character, Zach, giving him kind of a lanky sort of appearance. He kind of reminds me of some guys that I knew back in the day. So I would have been, the 70s would have been my, kind of like the heart of my childhood. I started high school at the beginning of the 80s, so when I was a kid, we call that part of life, pre-adolescence. That would have been the 70s for me. And so I guess that's why this comic is sort of set in that era, or in a in an era that is meant to, or a setting that's meant to evoke that era. Again, I'm not specific about anything. The name of the city, where it's set, what time period it is. I don't want to pin it down. I remember when I started working on the story originally, I definitely wanted it to be not only pre-smartphone, but pre-cell phone, pre-internet. I didn't want any of that kind of technology in there. I wanted the characters to have more difficulty finding information, I guess. And all of that has just made a lot of the classic tropes of detective stories obsolete now, you know. And here Sophie is erupting at Zach as he leaves. He gives a kind of a offhanded comment to her. There's a pile of new comics waiting to go out, Sophie. What do I pay you for anyway? And she responds, wait, you pay me? And then she just vents. I suppose some of this is latent frustration that I felt working in a bookstore. Drawing the characters with extreme expressions, like that last panel, is kind of fun, and it really helps you to work with make the characters' faces a lot more plastic. I've been trying to incorporate more scenes where I have an opportunity to do that with the characters. I kind of I admire manga for that. My characters just tend to get really stiff. So here I'm just scratching in some lettering as sort of a placeholder to get the idea of the word balloon size. And I've kind of gone back and forth on how vulgar to make Sophie's outburst. There was originally this comic was a little bit more adult, and I'm trying to tone it down a little bit now. So her final outburst where she says that Mr. Hippie-capitalist can eat me. I don't know whether that's going to stay in there or not, but I don't know. It's in character for her to say that. And there are other things, like the relationship with Doris Sloane and Chick Talbot, and their affair that they're having, their tryst in the hotel room, and how much of these adult situations I want to leave in the story. It was another great panel to draw her looking so frustrated like this with her hand in her hair. Okay, my cat is going crazy right now, making some noise. We're getting towards the end of this video now, and We're just going to pencil in that last panel, and then that'll be done, and this page will be ready for the inking, although I think there's still more background stuff that needs to be drawn in. It's something that I don't enjoy doing, the background of a store. All the merchandise on the shelves. It's kind of a nightmare to have to draw all that. I have to keep reminding myself it's the characters that are the important thing, making their acting strong. Okay. And this brings us to the end. Thank you for joining me, listening to me ramble on, and watching me sketch. See you next time.